I'd now like to ask our next panelist, Mr. Ikenna to take over the mic. For those of you who may not know him, he's a marine engineer and a seafarer himself. Beyond his duties at sea, he finds time to do poetry, and through which he has strived to give the ocean a voice, to advocate for seafarers, and to encourage resilience amongst seafarers. His passion for poetry has earned him the nickname Poet of the Seven Seas. So let's hear from Ikenna now. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for organizing this, and I really appreciate you people having me over here. And my name is Ikenna Ebin Idika. I'm a seafarer by profession, a third engineer by ranking, and I also enjoy poetry. So I had this inspiration to write about poetry, to write about this poem about cadets, because I really passed through a lot. Many of us who are African seafarers, who are African cadets, we always have a story to tell about our cadetship. And this is just a part of my story, not just my story. I had to join some of my stories and some of the stories of my colleague, to be able to write this poem so that we'll be able to create awareness about what's bothering us in cadetship placement. So also not just this poem, I also have other poems whereby I have written to promote the African content, because I'm somebody who really believes in the African content. I have a poem whereby I wrote the Rising Horn, African Seafarers, the Rising Horn, where I try to promote our maritime institution, our cadets, our chief engineers, and all our seafarers. I also have a poem where I wrote about Nigerian seafarers. So all these poems I do write is just to promote, the African content and promote everything about Africa, because I strongly believe in Africa. I strongly believe in our potentials, and I strongly believe in everything we can able to come together to achieve as a continent and as Africa. So before I share this poem, I want us to see the possibilities, because it's not just about making rules, because I believe in Africa here, we just make rules, but little implementation. I believe if we can come together to implement, some rules, some regulations in Africa, we'll be able to achieve a lot in Africa. So this poem I'm about to share is one of my most viewed poem on TikTok, okay? And maybe on Facebook or thereabouts. It's one of my most viewed poem because the cadetship program, the cadetship issue is one of the biggest, problems we have in Africa. Because when I wrote about cadetship, I discovered that in Africa that there is a lot to do, because we just train our cadets in school and let them go. So I wrote this poem. I got inspiration after I applied for cadetship. One of the companies, after several rejection mails, one of the companies told me that they needed an experienced cadet. And I was like, how can you get an experienced cadet? I'm just coming out of school. How do you expect me to get an experience when you have not given me a chance? Okay, so imagine saying, okay, for instance, I'm a third engineer, and you said you need an experienced third engineer. Maybe I have limited time of sea time as a third engineer. Good and fine, but telling a cadet to be an experienced cadet, and I was wondering, what is the real meaning of a cadet? Because a cadet is supposed to be an officer in training. So do you mean they should be a training officer, like a training officer in training? And I was just trying to process it. So these are the realities we face in Africa. And I believe with us coming together today, we'll be able to find solution, and we'll be able to come together in agreement so that we can push the African content forward. Because I can tell you, I've worked with, many nationalities, and I can tell you Africa has great potentials to build, very, very great potentials. Our cadets are good, our officers, our ratings, they are good. So all we just need is just to promote the African content. And we cannot do this if all of us will keep folding our hands, just when nobody will do this for us. We will put ourselves out there. And if we put ourselves out there, I believe the world will be able to come to our own market, because the market is ripe. Everywhere is, the harvest is ripe. So we need to put ourselves out there and tell the world, this is who we are, this is what we have, so that we'll be able to, market ourselves properly. So thank you very much. I will just be sharing the poem, and I expect your reactions, and I believe the poem should be able to tell the story proper. Thank you very much. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Thank you.
My dream is fading by the day, like a textile that is losing its color. I heard of many wonderful stories, the mystery of the seas, the adventure of the sailor, the tale of the seafarers, the captain and his ship, the storm and the calm, the drop and the crest, the pirates and the squall. Most of all, the illumination that comes to the world from the sea by seafarers. I studied and prayed hard to get here, hoping to contribute to the radiance of the world from the noble profession of a seafarer. But now, my hopes are shattered with rejection mails. My expectations are battered with no response when I apply. My aspiration is anchored as a stagnant vessel, no connection. A sailor without a ship. They say I'm inexperienced when I haven't been given a chance to learn at sea. A seafarer who fares the land and mailboxes. The old are bowing out, and the young aren't given a chance. Placement is what I need to become the best you can imagine.
Okay, so I believe placement is all I need. Okay, because I always thank the companies who always give greenhorns, people who are greenhorns, giving them chance to be able. So if I was not given an opportunity, I don't think I would be here today. And I believe everybody deserves the same opportunity, not just us, even to our female cadets, even to, because majorly it's always the male, but I believe if we are given the same opportunity also to the females, also it will also be better. Also, earlier I also wrote a poem whereby I titled Gender Restriction, where I had that inspiration when one of my colleagues was, she was not accepted to a company because of her gender. So I wrote the poem about gender restriction, and by the grace of God, the IMO also reshared the poem on their Twitter handle, which is one of their poems, which is one of the poems they shared during the International Maritime Organization, International Women's in Maritime Day. So I believe if we come together today, we'll be able to have a good discussion and plan a way forward, to give our cadets opportunities to become the best they can ever be. Thank you very much. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, the organizers of this program, for having me. God bless God bless us. God
Thank
bless
you.
Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ikenna. Can I see some
Thank you.
rounds of applause, virtual applause for Ikenna, please? I'd like to see that our audience is awake and participating. Thank you, thank you, thank you.